Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. I think everyone can kind of guess what I'm going to sit there and talk about first. Yep, Sunny. Sunny. Sunny, one of my favorite characters when I started watching the show back in high school. Okay? Back in high school. I say that because here's the thing. Sunny said, hmm, I'm trying to say this without cursing, but I feel like I don't know if I can actually pull this off. Sonny said a lot of unforgivable words. Let's put it this way. Sonny said a lot of unforgivable words. The last time I felt this way about Sonny was when he cornered Claudia Sakara and he talked about their baby. And he talked about how he was glad that their child was dead. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And I remember sitting there saying, I get that Claudia was responsible for putting Michael in that coma for, years or whatever. And I get that. And I get that he had a lot of hate in his heart. But I felt like it was one of those things where it's like, bro, you just practically said that you're glad that your unborn child didn't make it. I I felt like it just literally canceled out his feelings and his anger towards Claudia by saying that. And I haven't felt that way in a very long time until today. This is when he comes up to Curtis and is like, I want your nightclub. I want to sit there and buy your nightclub. And at first, Curtis looked at him like, has he lost his damn mind? Um, Being hella rude to Marshall. And then it turns out that he wants to rent the club for Carly. He wants to sit there and fix everything for Carly. Just make everything better and this, that, and the third. Now he's going on and on and on. He's like, I want to buy this club. I want to do this. I want to do that. You can't tell me. At this point, it's very obvious that he's having a manic episode. you know, but when he was like, you can't sit there and tell me what to do. Curtis is like, yo, we not in your place, bro. We in my place. Okay. Um, so he put it down just like that. Now Drew comes up, he sees this, and he's like, yo, what's going on? And Sonny, I'm just gonna sit there and say, Sonny was acting like an asshole to him. And it got to a point where he was saying things like, you're not the person, you're not the person I want to come back. You're some cheap knockoff, or I forgot the other words he was into saying, a carbon copy of someone better or someone less better. I don't know. The point is, he was saying a lot of really terrible things to Drew just for trying to help him. Um, Saying that, he wished he was the person on the ground and all this other stuff like that. And I'm just like, now, here's the thing. I get, and I was thinking about well, at work. I get that Sonny is off of his meds. And so one can sit there and look at this and be like, listen, it's mental illness. He was having a manic episode. All these reasons for why he said the worst possible things he could have said to somebody who is simply trying to help him. But here's the thing. He made a choice. Okay? He made a choice. He made a choice. He knew. Hell, his pharmacy called him to tell him about refilling his medication. And he made a choice to not do it. Now, I get that his life was falling apart as far as his marriage and everything like that, but again, that was a choice. Okay? You made a choice, and you're dealing with the consequences of those choices. And I was not there reading, well, couple, let's not say today, but maybe about a year or 2 years ago, I was not there on Facebook, and I was reading something from someone, and basically, you know, this person was not just saying like the stuff that happened was my fault because I wasn't on my medication. I didn't take my medication, so it's not my fault. And I'm like, well, you made a choice to not take your medication. So don't sit there and think that what you did is like, okay, well, you know what? Listen, this person didn't take their medication, so it's not their fault, and it's just, it's just wash our hands from it and just act like it didn't happen. No, you made that choice. Sonny made that choice. This is, I mean, I if we're gonna sit there and talk about all his life choices, it'd be too many to count. But talking about back from Nixon Falls and how he handled this whole Carly situation, he made a bad choice. You're suffering the consequences of it. And then you came in the Curtis nightclub and you didn't take your medication. And so you acted like a jackass. You said some really terrible things um, to people that was meant to just simply trying to help you. And it got to a point where even Nina had to sit there and step in and be like, listen, let's just go, whatever. Let's just, and we all know how I feel about Nina. Okay, Nina calmed the situation down and got him out the club, apologized to Drew, and I mean, listen, Drew, it seems like a very strong person, but, at the end of the day, everyone has emotions. And, it was very clear that that stuff got to Drew about the stuff that Sonny said. So this is one of those things where it's like, this is probably the only other time that I can think of that I've just like lost respect for him. That just completely disappointed me. So after that, Nina got Sonny back to the house and was like, I understand, like I can clearly see that you are having a manic episode. I mean, it's kind of crazy because Michael didn't see it, Harley didn't see it, but then again, I mean, this literally blew up. Like Sonny just lost control. The stuff that was happening was minor up until this point. But she called him out on it and was like, you're going through something. Want to stay. Um, and a lot of people, not just people in my comment section, but just on Instagram and stuff like that, have pretty much said that Nina can't handle Sonny when he's like this. Like when he goes through this stuff, like you ain't built for that. And Nina got to a point. It's like Nina's like, yo, listen, who do you want me to call? Since I don't know how to sit there and deal with you or whatever, like who do you want me to call? I'm gonna call Michael. I'm gonna call Dante. I'm gonna call Carly. He kept saying no to everyone. And at this point, Nina's like, okay, cool. So I'm gonna call Carly. You don't want me to stay, and I'm not leaving you by yourself. So what option do you want to deal with? So Sonny's like, listen, fine, you can stay, you can go, whatever, just don't get in my way. He took his alcohol and I guess he went in his room to drink. Now at this point, Nina didn't want to leave because at this point she was like, yo, you have two little girls upstairs. And it's not that I don't trust you, I don't trust what you're going through. So I guess there was a part of him that kind of realized that Nina was right, and so probably factored into why he allowed her to stay. Now, when Maxie bumped into Victor, picked up this sonogram, and he looked at it like, damn, this looks kind of familiar. So after they talk a little bit, and Victor offered help, and Maxie said no. Um, Victor went to see Austin, and Austin was not there talking to Britt. He found out that Austin's brother is on the spectrum. He's very guarded about his family and stuff like that, and so he doesn't really share a lot of stuff. But he did share that. There was one point where Austin was like, would you ever want to sit there and share something about your medical history or whatever? And Britt knew. At that point, Britt was like, yeah, no. But before they really got into it, that's when and of course they talked about Maxie for a little bit, so there's nothing new. And then Victor walked in, and Britt left, told him to go to hell. Victor sat down, and he showed Austin the sonogram. And Austin was like, because he asked, he was like, how would I be able to sit there and track this to the rightful person? And Austin was like, there's numbers that is on the top. Well, it's on the back of the sonogram. It has like numbers and stuff like that, and they can track it in case they need to sit there and give it to the right person or whatever. And I guess Victor must have had a quick look at some of the numbers, and I'm assuming that he probably matched it. And so when Austin was like, all right, give it to me, I'll give it to the right person. And, Victor was like, no, I got it. I'll give it to the right person. I'll do right by this person. And I'm surprised Austin was like, are you a medical physician? Do you work at the hospital? Because I work at the hospital. And I kind of think that I should have that sonogram, not just have it in your pocket just willy nilly like that. But okay, Victor, you do you. So yeah. Now Marshall and Curtis was talking a little bit, and Marshall was like, "Yo, listen, I don't care who he was, I don't care who comes in here. They talk to me like that, I'm popping them. They straight up, I'm popping them." And it was so funny when he said that because like I feel like Marshall and like my dad are around the same age, and that's something that like my dad would sit there and say. So when he said that, Curtis turned around and looked and was like, "What? That's that generation. They don't play that. They talk about pop. Pop them upside the head or another type of pop." Um, but Curtis was like, I was gonna sit there and try to have him help you out with your little situation, and Curtis was like, "No, listen, if you're getting bad with Sonny, I gotta walk. I can't be a part of that." So he leaves, and Drew and Curtis start talking a little bit. And it was weird because Curtis was like, "Yo, up until this point, I never had a problem with him. Like, what is going on with him?" And talked to Curtis. And talked to Drew about it a little bit. And Drew was like, "What's Sonny?" Like apparently they, I don't know exactly what Curtis said as far as like like what's going on with you and when what's going on with you and Sonny. Like as far as your friendship, and I think that's what he meant more or less. And Drew was like, "What friendship?" Pretty much. Um, that was bad. That was that was. It wasn't difficult to watch, but it was like Jesus Christ, Sonny, and I haven't felt that like disappointing you since college. I had to think about that for a minute. And for the most part, this is when this episode starts to go a little downhill. Just some extent. Jocelyn still pissed me off when she was like, "Oh well, Sonny is the one that messed up. Why does he, why should you have to leave?" And I sat there and looked at her like, "Why should he have to leave?" I've been saying this, and I sound like a broken record. And unfortunately, I have to sit there and keep bringing this up because um, I get where Jocelyn's coming from because she's defending her mother, and I get where Jocelyn's coming from as far as like Sunny being the one that initially screwed things up. You know what? I'm not even gonna go there. I'm just not even. Nope, not doing it. Not doing it. Because at this point, I think everyone knows what I'm gonna say, and I'm not going there. After she talks about that, then they talk about the cabin and if Jocelyn's using protection and stuff like that, and that was about it, more or less. Um, so they talked about that, and then Cam isn't it? They're talking as 1 second, Esme. I was still gonna screw her name up. Anyway, Esme and Cam isn't it? They're talking. They're talking about Trina. And Esme is still sitting there playing this game of pushing, Cam and Trina together because Trina's getting a little bit too close to Spencer for her taste. And it's just been the same thing that she's been doing for a while. Nothing really new. And Trina is not there talking to Spencer, and Spencer sits there and brings up jail, and I'm going to jail. It's like, bro, you're going to a country club. Relax. You're annoying the living hell out of me. I'm going to jail for 30 days. Bro, go to Pentonville. And then we'll talk. And then I'll actually sit there and have some sympathy for you. When you're going to what is called practically Club Med, nah, bro. I really don't care. Um, we're going to talk about that and how else they talk about. I'm not gonna lie, some of the stuff that they were talking about, I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. They talked about Ava's Gallery, working there, and working for Trina, and Trina was like, I'm gonna be tough, I'm gonna be fair, and blah 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 blah. It seemed like they were about to have a moment for a little bit, and you can see as as May, just kind of staring in the, staring and just looking at them while Cameron is just pissed off at the fact that he's outside in the cold, sweeping and stuff like that while Spencer's inside, not even doing his damn job. And I'm pretty sure he asked him to fill up the ketchup, bottles. He gets back and it's not done because, well, he's a. Oh, and after Trina talks to Esme still has those drugs or whatever, and apparently she's gonna probably try to do something with Trina and Cam as far as trying to get them to hook up. I'm assuming that's what those drugs are for. So okay, sure, why not? What else? Oh, and Felicia and Maxie get together. I'm gonna be honest. This is another conversation. I was just like, uh, guess we need to sit there and stretch out the time. Didn't really talk about much. They kind of stayed away from talking about Austin, and they kind of talked about going on that trip and you know Felicia kind of going easy on Maxie when they get there, as far as not pressuring her too much and blah 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 blah. So let's just get to this whole Paul Tuckett thing and just kind of get past it already because this whole thing is just I don't know. I just need them to kind of start moving a little bit faster on the storyline. Now, Harmony comes to visit Alexis and comes with a gift. They're talking. Harmony just seems like she's just really there to support her. And Alexis is just like, yeah, we can't have dinner after this. We can't go for drinks after this because my daughter, you and her history, it's just not gonna work. And of course, Harmony is like, yeah, I kind of knew that, especially after the talk with Sam, it just was not going to work out. So she gives her the gift and she walks away, and then Alexis opens it up, and it's just something like a nice little gift, just to kind of show that she's there rooting for her and supporting her. And she closes it, she gives her sigh, and that's pretty much about it. Now, you got Sam talking to Christina about, the relationship between Harmony and Alexis, and how, she pretty much kind of nipped it in the bud, as she so put it, because, the way she was Snitty trying to say it, the way she was Snitty trying to do it, she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm Snitty trying to do, I'm trying to do you a favor because you don't support this." So pretty much what Christina got upset with was the fact that Sam did this for Christina, and Christina was like, "Yo, listen, I'm good. I don't need you to sit there and be trying to get Alexis away from Harmony from me." And I guess Christina kind of looked at it like, "Yo, listen, I don't know if we're ever going to be friends." But it does seem like she's trying to be a better person. She did what she could to sit there and push Charlotte away. She served her time. She's trying to own up for her mistakes. Now, she does bring in, Dante and stuff like that, as far as like, well, how would you feel? Because I guess, I don't know exactly where she was going at, because to be honest, I was a little kind of bored. Um, but pretty much she kind of brought up parallels between Dante and her, as far as like, would, like, how would you feel if I had a problem with you dating Dante? Um, and also practically said that her life was somewhat messy. And apparently Sam got offended by that. But I'm like, sweetheart, it'll take me too long to sit there and go through some of the stuff that Sam has gone through and everything like that. I know exactly where this was coming from, but I think this was just more Christina Smith just saying, let me fight my own battles. Don't sit there and try to speak for me in a way. I don't know. Either way, it was good to sit there and see Christina, even if it was for a little bit. And it's kind of a shame because it's like they'll get her on there like today, but they haven't really gotten into a good storyline since the whole Shiloh thing. And I know some people didn't like the Shiloh thing, just like some people didn't like the whole Parker thing. I'm like, well, at least they're trying to get her in something. Um, I mean, hell, let's sit there and think about when they had the other Christina. The one that like no one liked, where Christina was acting like the worst version of herself ever. Um, and the reason why I sit there and say is because I feel like please give her something more. Because I feel like I really do like this Christina, and I don't want to sit there and have another episode. Have another episode where it's like, for whatever our reason, she decided to do something else for a little bit, and you have to sit there and get another Christina, which, um, the last Christina that we had was trash. There's no other way to sit there and put it. It was trash. At least with Sam, the actress that played her had, the virus, so they had to get somebody else to stand in for her. And I still remember that. I still remember that. I remember those pictures. I remember those pictures of her, and I'm like, damn, okay, she's very beautiful and everything like this, that, and the third. Like, okay, we gotta give her a little bit. Okay, fine. And I feel like it's that. If anyone ever watched that episode of Seinfeld, it was this. I don't know how you sit there and put it, but 1 minute in certain lighting they looked one way, and then in another lighting they looked at something completely different. And so I felt like that was the case when they actually brought in the well, what do you call them? Well, when they had to sit there and temporarily recast her as the other actress. Let me just double check my notes. Anyway, I feel like that's about it for the most part. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.